Hi, welcome to What the Flick again. Ben, Christy, Alonso, and Matt. Do not watch this if you have not seen Star Wars Episode 7. Star Wars: Episode 7 - Force Awakens.
Stop right now.
Right, we're going to spoil the whole movie.
Unless
the whole
you
thing.
know. I mean, maybe you don't like joy or surprise.
Or maybe
you
you already read the jerks in the comment section on our non-spoiler review who spoiled everything anyway.
Can we take those down, by the way? We got to take those down because that's not cool,
That's
you guys.
super not cool.
Why do we care so much more about spoilers in this movie? Like, what is our...
We don't.
Yeah.
No, we're just
But
saying.
many people do.
So this is our spoiler review.
There's a high anticipation level and a lot of advanced ticket sales, so you know.
And like a lot of stuff happens in this movie. Like it's
what was
packed, it's dense.
All right, so
What's the biggest spoiler? Right, it seems pretty obvious.
Han Solo dies.
Han Solo dies.
Han Solo dies,
But I
which
think-
apparently was the only way that they could get Harrison Ford back.
Okay, well, that's funny.
it they kill
That's
him?
what I heard, yeah.
Right. Because I heard, but that seemed obvious to me 10 months ago. or
Right,
whatever.
we've been talking about that
Like,
for
I
months.
thought this guy, when
You
the
told
way
me
he was
that.
talking about the movie, I
Right?
thought
Thank you.
he was
you.
like, fine, but here's the deal. I'm done. This is it. I'm done.
Right.
I'm not coming back as some ghost apparition. I'm not a Jedi.
I'm not hanging out with Yoda.
I'm getting
Right.
stabbed. I'm going down, and you can
Right.
have a photo of me on
Right,
General
and it's
Organa's
a good,
desk.
it's a good story beat. Like it makes it, that works, right? Like that's
Totally, yeah.
That's not problematic in this movie. There's a couple other story elements and there's a couple other things in this movie that really bother me. And I think, I will admit, this is someone who's super nitpicky and someone who's deep in the mythology and is way into this story and knows too much. So it's hard for me to put some of this aside, but like, do we need another fucking giant planet that destroys other planets? Like, and then
But it's
with
bigger than
a
the Death
vulnerable
Right.
area.
It's bigger than the Death Star. As we
cares?
see, they give you scale for comparison.
whatever,
You know?
I don't care. Like it's bigger. The other thing is, it doesn't even make any sense. Like that kind of whole thing. Like, okay, wait a minute. I mean, look, I get that this is fantasy. This is not science fiction. But there's at least
It's a blend, I think. It's
at
some
least in
science
the
fiction.
original trilogy, there's some semblance of internal logic, and this one kind of just somewhere, especially with that Star Killer thing, kind of just goes out the window.
I
Like,
kind of think it's the MacGuffin. I kind of think like it's all about
Right,
getting
I
these
think it
people
is too.
together, and like
Yeah.
there has to be something evil
Yeah,
that brings them all together, and that's the jumbo Death Star.
it
Right,
just
but-
feels a little slapdash. Like,
But we're now at 43% of all Star Wars movies have a Death Star.
right, that's kind of
Four out of
the other
seven
problem.
Star Wars
I
movies.
talked about in our other review how it feels a little thin in places, and one of the places it feels thin is like they've got this big thing that it's like, oh, we can't get the piece of the
puzzle
thumb drive
piece,
that we
yeah.
want.
Yeah.
Well, fuck it, we're gonna just destroy everything. Like, you guys have been sitting on this, like you're just now using this, like.
Well, I think it's just now operational.
But they don't say anything like that. Like, I feel like there's a few lines in this movie that are missing, right?
Like, wait. So what do you think was they didn't occur to them until too late? I mean, what should they have done?
Well, they're sitting on this giant
piece of
thing
the
and they
map.
haven't used it yet because they were
But
waiting.
wasn't that in R2?
No, it wasn't.
R2 had a bunch of it, and BB-8 has a
BB-8
bunch of
had
it,
the
right?
mission
And they,
piece.
But
they,
that
need,
wasn't.
they need to
but that
project
didn't
onto
have-
each other.
But that didn't have anything to do with the station. That was the map-defined
Fine,
Luke.
Luke, okay.
Right.
Right? So,
That's not what you're talking about?
no, what I'm talking about is the attitude, what it feels like in this movie is that Kylo Ren and the General Hux, you can't get the piece out of the droid, like, all right, fuck it, we're going to destroy the
Boom!
Like, what? No, wait a minute.
Well,
like,
and
why
what-
would you guys not have done this
Did you
before?
try the power button?
Right.
Just try turning it off and
back on
turning it on again. Did you unplug it?
Wait 30 seconds, General.
What I
It has to
want-
reboot internally. Jesus.
What I wanted to mention before, though, about Han Solo's death is that, you're right, with the Death Star, there's so much stuff in this movie that is a replay of Episode 4. Even his death makes him the Obi-Wan Kenobi of this movie.
Or that scene's also a father-son showdown on a catwalk.
Totally, of course. Yeah.
That
That's
too,
that.
yeah.
But that scene it's so beautifully shot, that one long streak of light that comes in, and maybe
Yeah.
it's overly symbolic, that the streak of light comes from Finn and Rey down onto Han Solo, almost like they're to pass the torch or whatever.
And the way
it's
Adam
shot gorgeously.
and the way Adam Driver acts it, where you don't know for sure,
You didn't know- it was-
is he gonna maybe respond to this?
yeah.
Is he not?
And then even so, when you don't know if he's going to do it, and then
Right.
when he does it, you're not entirely sure how he's reacting to it. Like he has a nice moment of what I've always wanted.
Yeah.
Oh, I just killed my father.
But
You
there's
know,
so much
I
point
thought
to
it was really good.
As he's dying, the fact he caresses his cheek as he's dying is
yeah.
like the most gorgeous moment.
Yeah.
Right.
There's substance, there's poignancy here.
That's the thing that frustrated me about this movie. There's great moments in it, but then there's parts where it's like, fuck logic. Like we're just going to completely abandon that. Right? And the Star Killer thing is that's a big part of it for me. And there's a couple of other places too that, you know, it's one of the things I kind of alluded to in our non-spoiler review. Like, I felt like you don't earn Rey's abilities without some mention of at least saying like, you know, all she has to say is like, look, life's tough on the planet. I can handle myself. Like,
I think that was clear.
Again, I as I said in the other review, I think that because she spent her life scavenging this equipment, she knows how the equipment works, and I was willing to buy that. And she's got the Force.
She's clearly a fucking Jedi.
Yeah. Now let's break down. Do we think that she's Luke's daughter?
I thought the movie was going to end. I whispered to John Iadarola, I was like, this movie is ending with the word Dad. Right. Question mark.
Clearly, she has to be. Who else did you get the Force from?
Well,
right?
And finally,
so
a
here's
female
another thing.
Jedi in the series.
So
by
here's
the way,
another
thank
thing.
you.
Like,
I mean, does the Force have to be handed down that way?
Not necessarily.
It's like DNA, right? Like,
no, but here's okay. So that's a great final scene, right? That final shot. But really, like, Chewie, you couldn't drop her off at the top of the mountain.
Nope.
Like, come on.
she needs that workout.
Like,
She
I've
needs-
got a spaceship, and I'm going to park all the way at the bottom of the fucking Himalayas, and you get to walk up.
But she
Like,
didn't know.
Well, they
maybe
didn't have a helipad
They don't
either.
know where to go. Maybe they don't know where to go.
on.
What I
Okay, well, sorry. The other
Go
thing I want to throw out. Do we think then when Han Solo has the line about how Luke was teaching people to become Jedi and then one guy rebelled, that's Kylo Ren?
yeah.
Clearly,
right?
I think
Yes.
clearly
Okay,
that's
yes.
true. Yeah,
Right. So
yeah.
yes, and then there's an intro. Like, is she Luke's daughter? Why did he leave her, or why did her family leave?
Who's her mom?
Who's her mom? What caused them to abandon this child? Obviously, if Luke was involved, it was similar to the decision that had him left, which is, if she comes with me, she dies.
Right.
So I've got to.
How did hologram bad guy seduce Ben Solo away from
Right.
Luke's training?
Right. Yeah. So
More
but
will
I
be
mean,
revealed to us.
Exactly.
But all-
Episode 8.
What I thought was funny is that, like, so they land on whatever that first planet, and then on
Jakku.
Oscar Isaac and Max von Sydow were having the conversation that again told you 25 seconds in. I was like, oh, this movie's good.
This is a real movie.
It's a real movie. But like, so they have this weapon that can just burn fire across light years and eviscerate a planet in seconds. But they can't position a satellite over the planet
Right,
they're
thank
invading.
you.
They have no
Thank you.
surveillance.
You
They
guys
have
are
no,
nitpicking big
No,
time.
but I mean, but like it's. I mean, in a world where it's this.
I grant you that.
But in a
No,
world where it's this sophisticated, like all you have to do to get away from these guys is just run. Like there are pieces of sophistication missing in this giant world of sophistication. Like
Human stakes.
we're
Someone's got to run.
I got it, but I mean, the world we live in now is in some ways more advanced than their world.
right.
Well, it's a long time ago.
It can't be far, far away.
I think our complaints is that there's a lack of internal logic to this film that's really frustrating in a few places, right? Like,
I was not really frustrated by it. I was amused by it.
It didn't frustrate me on first viewing. Maybe going back, it might.
None of this bothered me. I was into
Yeah,
it.
I was into it too. I mean, I just thought.
well, I'm
I was
sorry
like-
for
I was like,
expecting real movies here.
Someone's got standards.
Here's what I like about what Abrams does here is that, like, okay, I'm going to give you the same stuff again, but I'm going to give it a little twist. Like, I'm going to give you a guy who can use the Force to hold a blaster fire in midair, which is awesome.
cool.
That was cool.
I'm going to
Oscar
give
Isaac
you.
looks at it as he's walking past
Yes,
it.
just
That was
hanging
cool.
there. That was awesome. I'm going to give you women piloting X-wings, which they've probably done like in the cartoons or something, but I don't think we've ever had in the live-action movies. I'm going to give
There
you.
was stuff that was shot for Jedi that didn't make the cut with that.
Oh, okay. I'm going to give you blood on a stormtrooper uniform.
That
you
was
pointed out.
striking,
And I was
yeah.
like, oh yeah, that's a thing. There's actual,
The tavern scene
well,
is very similar, but,
yeah,
but there's
but
a woman Jedi there,
that's-
Lupita Nyong'o character.
True.
There were
She's a
some
woman
women
Jedi.
Jedi.
She wasn't a Jedi.
There
though.
were some,
She was saying, I'm a new Jedi.
but there was
Right?
a woman
No.
Jedi.
I said I'm
hold
no
on.
Jedi.
No, I thought she said, I'm a new Jedi. I thought she said, when
Nope.
Rey finds the lightsaber.
I don't
She
remember
said
that
she-
We'll go
either.
back and
She
look at
says,
it.
I'm no Jedi. I
Oh.
know how the Force works.
And
I
then
see,
the
I
other
see.
thing that I want to throw out though is the idea, also showing like what does that planet destroying thing look like from the point of view of the people on the planet that's being destroyed. That was new and different.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Oh,
just
yeah.
little
Like a
things like
nuclear
that along the
holocaust.
way. I was kind of like, all right, so Abrams is at least thinking like, how do we flip the script a little? How do we do the same stuff but show it in a way that the other movies didn't do it? So I admire at least an attempt to kind of put a little English on it.
And I think an aggressiveness with the humor. I mean, like really sort of committing to that, making it funny, not making it kid Saturday morning cartoon funny, but funny. I mean, the line between Finn and Chewbacca and Han Solo are in that final moment to try to, I can't even remember what the hell the point was, but they're there. And the Finn is like, well, we'll just use the Force. Han's like, that's not how the Force works.
I love the subversion of this.
What's that?
The ancient cliche of man grabs woman by the wrist and they run.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
like, what are you doing? This is my planet. I should be leading you.
I know how to run.
Yeah.
Look, there's a lot of great stuff in here, but I just think there's some key pieces that are missing. Like when Finn decides he's not going to be a stormtrooper, right? And yeah, you get these quick cuts and like there's something like not right with him, but they never really acknowledge it. Like, is that the first time he's had doubts? Has he?
He says it's the first time he's ever been in combat.
It was his first time.
It was his first time in combat. He said there's a lot. So facing it in real life suddenly makes him snap and go, I can't do this, even though they kidnapped me as a child and have trained me my whole life to do it.
And he's still really young.
He also,
right?
the wipes. He's very young. The wipes that I hate were like massively, like he did them. Like, hey, I know I'm saluting this, but he did.
Right.
There were 6.
You can't
and not
Ben's
36.
counting wipes.
Yeah. So I don't know. I loved it, and the other spoiler, of course, is that one thing we talked about that I think would have been nice was a little more Adam Driver, a little more understanding there, even if it was just a line of we never should have told him who his grandfather was, and then and then he just got so into it. Something.
See,
Darth Vader is really cool.
Yeah, right.
Who wouldn't want to
This
be
stuff
him?
skips a generation, and you rebel against your own parent, and then your kids rebel against you, and they turn into your parents.
And Leia has a line about he's got too much Vader in him, and that was okay for me. Like,
Yes,
that
that's
explained
right.
it to me.
There was.
Yeah, see, I just feel that's all, and that all works, but it's just a little on the thin side. And I feel like what this movie does is we're so afraid of over-explaining and taking the magic away that we're going to err on the side of not explaining anything. And so I think, I would have loved to have seen 4 or 5 more lines total in this movie, and I think it would have made a big difference.
But think of what you know at the end of Jedi versus what you knew at the end of Star Wars. In terms of that first movie, throws some bones out there, a few nibbles here and there of things, and then as the movies progress, we learn more. We find, things are revealed, things are discovered. I think for a first movie of what is already in the pipeline, several more, I don't mind the nibbles, knowing that the trail of breadcrumbs is leading.
See, I
And
think
it covers a lot of ground,
I
I
think
think.
there's bigger clues in A New Hope, in Star Wars, than there are in this one.
There's lots of clues in this.
But I think retroactively though, because watching Star Wars again for this, I realized I remembered seeing this movie for the first time, being like, oh yeah, I remember not knowing what the fuck they were talking about, but just sort of going with it, and then later, of course,
It's like an episode of The Wire. They don't help you out.
For instance.
The
other big spoiler: Luke's alive. He shows up at the end.
Luke's alive, but Mark Hamill lineless,
Right.
completely lineless.
Like on his face, or what he gets to say. Lines on his face, or lines that he gets to say.
Yeah, that's right. But he looked good. I think he looked good.
He looked good.
Yeah.
Nifty little mechanical hand.
All that clean living up in the mountains,
That's
right?
right, that's right,
He's
yeah.
doing okay.
Yeah, but you got to feel like that's probably what he does every day. Just like, well, it's 2.
Gonna stand on the cliff for a while.
Stare out.
Now look,
Eventually, Ray will show up.
I've complained about this enough. I'm going to point out some of the stuff that I think is awesome.
Okay.
This movie does a great job of showing you, like, oh shit, those TIE fighters are dangerous, right? Like that early scene where they steal the TIE fighter and he's flying it around. He's like, oh, this thing can move. And then you see all of that. It's like, oh yeah, no wonder those things take out all those X-Wings. Like, that's a great scene. The dogfight close to the planet with the Falcon and the 2 TIE fighters, like that that is as exciting a space battle as we've seen in any of the Star Wars
with the
movies.
kids.
With the kids.
Where she goes through the abandoned Star Destroyer. It's
That was
thrilling, yeah.
amazing.
Yeah,
That
the
was,
way she got them to kill that second TIE fighter was
right.
that was-
I mean,
that
that's
was
like
great
being
stuff.
on the Star Tours ride.
Right.
I went to Disneyland yesterday, and the Star Tours ride actually now does that.
Oh, no shit.
The new Star Tours ride takes you through Jakku and then to Coruscant, and BB-8's in it. It's all about the new movie now.
Cool.
Oh,
So,
nice.
check it
Yeah,
out.
that's really good. Like I felt like the action, being able to see stormtroopers go head to head with a guy with a lightsaber, like that's a nice change. Because before it's like, oh yeah, I'm the Jedi and these guys are just faceless minions that I can take out and
Yeah, humanizing the stormtroopers was good.
Yeah.
I could even go for more of that. Like I'd like to see them with their helmets off in the canteen.
Well, and it's funny. I remember going in episode 1. I think was the first time that we'd seen anybody use a lightsaber to go through something. You know, like when he's trying to when Qui-Gon is cutting through those
Right.
doors.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, the first time we've seen somebody do the turn it on somebody, right?
Oh, when Han Solo dies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. That was no. It was the lightsaber stuff was better than was good.
See, this is the thing you hated before. Now you're okay with
Well, there
lightsabers.
weren't 40
It's good.
fights. There were 2.
It's
And they
how you
matter.
do it.
And they matter. Wait, so do you
matter.
guys think now that Kylo Ren is dead? Because the
Oh
planet-
God,
no,
no.
I was
because
gonna
he
say
saved
there's no way.
Chewie, and Chewie's saving him.
No,
Yeah,
and
he's fine.
I think that
No. You're talking about Finn.
Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren.
No, Finn's not dead.
Oh,
but
no.
do you think the planet? You know,
No,
they
Kylo-
have this- the
Kylo
battle
Ren
is-
has
He has to come back.
He has,
Well, so I don't think Kylo Ren is dead because that Supreme Leader,
Andy Serkis.
Snoke,
Snoke?
Yeah.
Snoke says something. First of all, says now his true training or something like that. Now his transformation can
really-
finally be
yeah.
complete. And
Yeah.
if you look closely, like that's a guy who's been sliced through the head, right? That Snoke is. Like when you're looking at that hologram, there's this excellent scar coming down through his forehead and like through his mouth, and like somebody's chopped that dude's head and it got put back together and he came back to life.
How was he? What was his wound? I don't remember.
When you go back, he's got this great scar that looks like.
No. What was
The
after
Kylo
that?
Ren's.
Yeah, I don't think he got it through the
remember.
head.
No, and then the thing split. He's definitely not dead. If you don't see people die, they're not
Right.
dead.
Right.
You don't see him die, but the planet does explode.
Yeah. Donald
No, he
Gleason's
gets-
dead. I think.
Oh yeah.
Who's dead?
Donald Gleason.
Donald Gleason.
General Hux.
Oh yeah, that guy's dead. Yeah.
Is he? I don't know that he is. I think.
I could be wrong.
What happened to him?
No, I think
He's on the planet when it
I think he's the one that gets told by Snoke, "Go pick up Ren and bring me his body."
Yeah.
And now I can finish his training. So I think they.
Yeah.
We can rebuild him.
I do love that when the Death Star, whatever they're calling it this time, is finally blowing up. The one guy's like, "Fuck it! It's 5 seconds to explosion. I'm not going to sit at my console.
Which is great.
Screw all of you people! I quit."
But here's the thing: like, okay, we're going to suck all the energy out of the star that we're orbiting, so we can destroy the other planets. Like, all right, so what happens after that? Like,
But I also like the.
now you got no star to orbit.
So
Like,
it blew up. I guess it blew up, but it didn't blow up like Alderaan. It didn't vaporize. Like you get the feeling that. So like if we learned later that it blew up and then parts that exploded.
I
There
love
are large
that Ben
sections
Mankiewicz
that are
just
still around.
is talking about how Alderaan
Thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
blew up differently,
all
and this
in
new
there
planet did not
somewhere.
I
vaporize.
can't believe I pulled that.
And
in.
Argo City was under a
Alderaan is
dome.
peaceful.
Alderaan, yeah.
All right,
And that's where
so
Jimmy Smits lived, right?
Yes.
okay, so we did our numbers in the last review. You can go back and look them up. We all liked it a lot.
We all liked it.
remember my
I think I
number
liked
was.
it the most, and Matt liked it the least. At the world,
But I still liked it.
It's
Right.
very
Welcome
strange.
to Bizarro
Dogs
World.
and cats.
And you're
living
still going to be
together.
talking about it in 3 weeks, and I will have moved on.
All right.
I'm
thank
going
you
to see it
for
again. Maybe I'll like it.
Thank
better.
you for watching this. Bye.